Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you for joining today's emergency briefing. My name is Orna Woolens. I have the great privilege of chairing our Los Angeles Jewish Federation. We are all heartbroken by the magnitude and the unfathomable devastation of these wildfires. More than 2,000 homes, businesses, and buildings have been destroyed. Entire neighborhoods are erased. At least 5 people have tragically died, and tens of thousands of our friends, colleagues, and neighbors have lost their homes and are displaced within our own city. In the face of this crisis, our Los Angeles Jewish Federation is joining forces to meet the moment. We are working with surrounding federations, and I thank Jason Moss, Julie Solberg, and Janine Mann for their leadership of the San Gabriel, the Greater San Gabriel, and Pomona Valley Federations. Thank you. Our JFEDLA, along with our partners, the various organizations that we work with, rabbis, synagogues, and volunteers, are working to help the so many that are impacted by this ongoing tragedy. Together, we are housing, feeding, and providing spiritual and emotional support to the so many who have evacuated and who have lost homes. We recently established the Wildfire Crisis Relief Fund, and we encourage each of you to please contribute. The link is on JFEDLA's website, and there will also be a link in this chat. And I thank all of you who have already contributed. The needs are immense and only growing. During today's webinar, we will highlight how our community can access a robust array of resources. We have government, nonprofit, and social service experts who can guide on how to best arrange for emergency loans, how to apply for benefits, and how to access assistance. Please submit your questions through the Q&A on the chat. And to begin our discussion on these all too important topics, it is my honor to introduce our very beloved CEO and President, Rabbi Noah Farkas. Thank you.
Thank you, Orna. Thank you for all you've done in the last few days, helping us lead this community and helping us get to a place where we can really act together. I can't thank you enough for our partnership. In just a moment, we'll hear from Councilmember Tracy Park, who represents the 11th District and has been an absolute champion moving through the fires that have been moving through her district, specifically the Palisades fire. Unfortunately, she's not quite on yet, so I'm going to share just a couple of words as I was told that she's in the meeting with Gavin Newsom and the governor at the moment. So I'll share a couple of words and then introduce my colleague from our sister federation just down the street. This has been a very harrowing time, and but we have met it with just great resiliency and strength. Broadly speaking, I think many of you know what's in the news, that there's been nearly 100,000 acres burned, that there has been thousands of structures that have been burned. There are any time between 3 and 5 fires happening at the same time. There are Jewish institutions that have collapsed and burned to the ground, at least their buildings have. And there are thousands of people on the move, displaced. Our staff, we have, just as one example, we have about 10% of our staff are not in their own homes because they've been dislocated. But in general, we are doing okay. This great tragedy has, like all tragedies in our Jewish community, have brought us together. Our federation, responded very quickly through our community security initiative, going through each and every organization, making sure that they are aware of what's happening around them, in constant contact with each other. We have been in contact through our boards of rabbis, through other rabbinic and professional channels, and we've been reaching out to individuals and making sure that people are hopefully navigating to the right resources that they need. And then lastly, we are doing this fundraising campaign that gives us the ability, the energy to marshal the resources as appropriate. So at this point, I'd like to bring on my very dear friend and colleague, Jason Moss, who is the executive director of the Federation of, and I hope I got this right, the Greater San Gabriel and Pomona Valleys. Jason, it's wonderful working with you always, but especially thank you for your leadership, especially for the people in the Altadena fire. So I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Rabbi Farkas. And I reciprocate. The partnership is unbelievable and greatly appreciated. Good afternoon, everyone. I am the executive director of the Jewish Federation of the Greater San Gabriel and Pomona Valleys. Our community has been hit specifically by the Eaton fire. As many of you are aware, Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center, which also housed B'nai Simcha Community Preschool, a separate entity, were lost to the fire Wednesday night and early Thursday morning. While our community is grieving that loss of the facility that has been home to so many in our community, and they're considered their spiritual home, where life cycle events took place. Kids began. It was also the site of Weitzman Day School before its closure. Our community is grieving, while at the same time, we know that so many in our community have lost homes and businesses. There have been, as Orna mentioned earlier, there have been entire neighborhoods wiped out or single homes in neighborhoods left standing. Right now, our Jewish Federation is working to gather the names of people that have had loss, both businesses and homes, so that we can do direct support and reach out to and provide the guidance and really be there as a community. As I pointed out to somebody earlier today, we are in the process of beginning a marathon, and we are only in the first 100 meters of that marathon. What we are experiencing in many cases is unprecedented. And yet, through all of this, I think we are seeing the example of what community really is all about. The partnership between our two Jewish federations and our communities, people coming together, reaching out and offering so much support is a silver lining through all this tragedy. So I just want to say thank you to everyone in the community who's reaching out. I want to thank again Rabbi Farkas as well as Alex at CSI for the support that's been provided and the leadership that's being taken. We look forward to the continued partnership, and we are going to get through this. It's going to be a different community. I think it's important to keep in mind one last thing. This has only been 40 hours, give or take, since this all began. And it is going to be a long, hard battle for so many people. And our community has forever been changed since Wednesday night. But through change comes opportunities and growth. And even in this devastation, people know that there is support coming from our local Jewish community and nationally, and it is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Always good to be with you. And again, thank you for your leadership. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you, Orna, to lead us through the rest of the webinar.
Thank you, Rabbi Noah. Thank you, Executive Director Jason, for the update and for the confidence that we will be able to move forward effectively. And to that note, we are always grateful to work with our outstanding professional colleagues, and we rely so much on their expertise to help people who are impacted, to help with accessing the services that are needed. I am very privileged to be able to introduce Rachel Gross, Executive Director of Jewish Free Loan, Diego Cartagena, Executive Director and CEO, Beit Tzedek, and Eli Weitzer, President and CEO of Jewish Family Services. Thank you for your help, and thank you for your knowledge.
Thank you, Orna. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm glad to be able to be here to speak about the services that Jewish Free Loan can offer to the community at this time. And I really encourage anyone who is in need to reach out to us, and we will do our utmost to help you and to help you quickly. Generally, the way the Jewish Free Loan works is we require guarantors for all of our loans. In a crisis like this, we are offering a limited number of loans of up to $2,000 for true emergency situations for things like temporary housing, including hotels and short-term rentals, purchase of clothing, medication, other essential supplies, purchase of used cars, or other emergency needs. There are a limited number of loans like this, and if you need one or know someone who does, please encourage them to apply quickly. Those loans are going to be used up, and I do want us to be able to help you. Our general loan program is also available to everyone. Those loans are for up to $15,000 and can cover a wide range of emergency situations. And they can also serve as bridge loans while you're waiting to hear if your car was destroyed or if property was destroyed and you're waiting for replacement dollars from insurance companies. We are also here to help small businesses. If there's small businesses that have been impacted by the fires, we can help with loans up to $36,000 for purchase of inventory, for relocation costs, for signage and marketing, for replacement of computers or other essential equipment, and a variety of other needs. And I urge you to reach out and speak with our staff and see how we can help you. And finally, we are here to help the Jewish community, and our Jewish institutional loans are available to any Jewish institution that has been possibly completely burnt down or has had partial damage. Those loans generally are up to $100,000. There may be room for some increased amounts in this situation. And again, I urge you to reach out to us and we will help you. Our turnaround time is very fast, generally under a week. We do require some supporting documentation, which is outlined on our website at jfla.org. To apply, you can either click the link on the homepage, which says apply now, or download our app, which is in the app stores. And I wish everyone luck, and I really encourage you to reach out. We're here for you, and we would love to help you during this difficult time. Thank you. Orna.
Orna, go ahead and introduce our next panelist.
With pleasure. Our next panelist is Diego Cartagena, who is the Executive Director and CEO of JFEDLA.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here with you all. JFEDLA Legal Services provides free legal services to low-income individuals across Los Angeles County, regardless of race, religion, ethnicity, or immigration status. And when we say that our services are free, they are completely free from start to finish, whether an individual simply requires a consultation, an advice and counsel, or needs to secure the services of one of our attorneys to appeal an insurance or benefits denial or take a matter to court. All of our services are free. At this moment in time, we're encouraging folks to focus on the immediate needs of shelter, food, and health. And we often see legal services coming in as a secondary need. We are putting together FAQs that will provide individuals guidance on matters related to filing insurance claims. This applies both to individuals as well as small businesses, small business owners, I should say, who have lost a small business. We will be putting together information for renters on their rights, including whether or not they're entitled to withhold rent, entitled to relocation assistance. Employees, so they understand how to apply for unemployment insurance benefits and public benefits issues. At this moment in time, we are encouraging people to visit our website and go through our intake line. However, if there are individuals that are specifically impacted by the fires, we do have one individual who has graciously agreed to serve as our point person for all fire-related intakes. I will put her name and phone number into the chat so people have that available to them. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We are now going to hear from Eli Weitzer, who is the President and CEO of Jewish Family Services.
Thank you, Orna, and thank you to the Federation for putting on this call. So I just want to say, as Diego mentioned, we are in the crisis mode of this right now, and the most important thing are basic needs, access to basic needs of food, clothing, shelter, healthcare, those kinds of things. We have a direct hotline at JFS, our intake line and central access, and that is the portal to really all the services that we have to offer. In particular, we have a lot of services for older adults and services for the general population as well. I'm going to introduce Jen in a minute, who will give you more specifics on that. But I want to emphasize that the phase 2, the longer term rebuilding of lives and homes, is harder, and it's long term, and it's going to require a lot of community commitment. We rallied together so well in crisis, but we need to maintain that commitment together. And I'll just mention that we have something very special here in Los Angeles. It's called the Ezra Network. The Ezra Network came out of the 2008-2009 financial crisis. And the Federation, the Foundation was involved as well. Jewish Family Service, together with other Jewish communal organizations, really put together a system to respond to community needs that is replicated now in other places around the country. And so the intent is really to integrate our support as a community so that individuals get all the support that they need. I will suggest that the best point to start really is at the Central Access 9 at JFS, because the social workers there will be able to assess for needs and then connect individuals to whoever can provide for those services. If you know you have a specific need, that you can go straight to JFEDLA or to JFEDLA, that's fantastic also. So I just want to thank everybody. Collectively, as a community, we have built something that really can be responsive, and as long as we stick together in doing this, we will really help the community rebuild. I want to pass it on to Jen Glazer, who is our Senior Director of Community Mental Health and Case Management Services, who oversees Central Access, Ezra Network, and some of our other programming as well. So take it away, Jen.
Hi, everyone. Thanks to the Federation for putting this together, and I hope everyone's safe. So we have a line that's always been there since 2008. It's a place to start at JFS. This is unfolding, and we want people to be able to reach out to us without having to make multiple phone calls. So that is the best place to start. I believe it's on the website. It's 877-275-4537. We also have an email, and while we return every call as quickly as possible, we are prioritizing all fire-related calls. Ezra Network, as Eli mentioned, it's a team of social workers, and we will be available to work with people as they're rebuilding. These systems are going to be complicated. We won't be working instead of the Red Cross or the other resources, FEMA, but we will be working with them to provide support as people look to rebuild. And also there can be some assistance for basic necessities as people are working with a social worker. We encourage you to call, and we just hope that everyone is okay. And I appreciate the opportunity to hear these other words of wisdom as well myself. So thank you for your time, and thanks for doing this. And also I want to mention JFEDLA is an incredible partner and will be key as Ezra as we move forward. It's a social service team that addresses legal, that addresses jobs, and that addresses basic needs and social services headed by the Federation. So thank you.
Thank you to our panelists. Good afternoon. I am Becky Sobelman-Stern, the Chief Impact Officer at the Federation. So we're now going to take a few moments to field some of the questions that have come through in the chat and online. First, Jason, if you could come back online and tell us a little bit more about the status of the synagogue, about the temple. I think there's confusion in the marketplace about its status, and it is a sobering report you're going
Yeah,
to.
it's really a sad state. The synagogue is actually still on fire, the last reports we got. And so it is not going to be able to be repaired in its current status. It will have to be completely rebuilt. But as I mentioned earlier, there's also a community preschool that was housed on site, a separate entity. It too is going through the process of determining what their next steps are and finding locations for their preschool families. Our local synagogues in our area outside of Pasadena have opened their doors to our local to Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center. And but I think what is important to know is first the Torahs were saved. They were retrieved early Wednesday afternoon. And but now it's the next phase that the congregation is going through. There is a lot of outreach going on. Our Jewish Federation is gathering the data of who lost what and trying to do what we can to keep everyone committed and connected and supported in whatever ways possible. But yes, Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center that also housed B'nai Simcha Community Preschool is no longer there, except for some of the pillars and so forth that have not burned.
Jason, thank you. And our hearts go out to the community and the congregation. The next question is for Rachel. So Rachel, you can come back online with us. The question is, are these loans only for Jewish community members?
Oh, thank you. No, these loans are available to anyone who resides in Los Angeles, Ventura, or Santa Barbara counties. Our loans are always given out on a non-sectarian basis. You do not need to be Jewish to apply and get a loan.
There was another question for you, Rachel, which is you said limited. And I think people are questioning what that means. I saw a few questions about that in the chat.
Yes, so the loans that are up to $2,000 without guarantors are limited. We've had a special donation to offer these loans. This is outside of our regular. This is not how we generally work. Given the situation, given the fact that many people are out there who will need access to money, and we do not want people to resort to predatory loans, there are a limited number of these. I can't tell you exactly how many loans there will be because it depends how many people come to us for $2,000, $1,000, $500. It's a little bit hard to give you an exact number, but they are available, and I encourage you to apply today if you need that.
Great, thanks so much.
Welcome.
Yes, for everyone that has asked whether this webinar has been recorded, certainly it has. Many of you will want to be sharing the links to our social service partners. You can use that off the QR code, which will come up again. I would also be remiss if we did not talk about Jewish vocational services. We thank our partners, and in a future webinar, when we're past the most immediate point of this crisis, we will turn to JFS to give an update about how you can support their services. I do see now online Councilwoman Tracy Park. We thank you so much for being with us. We understand how busy you are. We understand you were just very much a part of a very important conversation. You have about 525 people online, Tracy, Councilwoman Park. So I now turn this over to you.
Thank you all so much for the opportunity to be here, and I apologize that I'm late joining, but I wanted to share with you that I am actually up at the Unified Command Post here in Zuma Beach, where I've just met with Governor Newsom, Mayor Bass is here, Senator Schiff, Congressman Sherman. FEMA has arrived. They are in the process of bringing resources. We still have supplemental resources coming from around the state and the federal government. And so we are laying the foundation for what is going to be inevitably a very, very long recovery process. For those of you who live in the impacted area, I know many of you have questions about the status of your homes and property and the timing of when you're going to be able to get back. So I want to share these updates and ask for continued patience and cooperation. The Palisades fire continues to burn. They will be updating us with containment information at some point today. The information that you hear in many ways is misleading because there is a containment line, but the containment line is the ocean. This fire has burned all the way to the coast. However, it continues to spread and light new places towards the east and in other directions. The winds have died down some, which has enabled our fire partners to do some water drops and other aerial operations, which we were unable to do on Tuesday and Wednesday. So the fire suppression effort is actually still in full swing, even though the skies are bluer today, and even though there's less smoke in the air, there is still active fire in much of the area. The evacuation orders are still in place, and they are going to be in place for a while longer. I know folks want to return to the area to survey their property, but it's simply not safe to let folks do that yet. And when the time comes, we will be pushing information out about how the return and repopulation process is going to look. You all have seen the devastating images. There is absolutely no way to sugarcoat this, so I'm not going to. This is a total loss. The devastation is complete. The scenes on the ground are absolutely apocalyptic. It is a miracle that there is anything still standing. And even for the folks that may have a home to return to, the scope and the scale of the damage is so significant that it is going to take many months just to get the rubble out and to bring some basic structure and order back. And, I think the reality here is that we have a years long recovery ahead. In the coming days, we are going to be working with FEMA and the Red Cross and other federal and state partners to begin opening community recovery centers, which will essentially be one-stop shopping for residents where they can get information and support about filing insurance claims, property assessments, replacements of key documents, and all of the usual disaster support and relief services. But we're still a few days away, likely, from being able to roll those services out. There have been reports of looting around LA County, none in the Palisades that have been confirmed. I want to reassure everyone that there is a very substantial LAPD presence currently, as well as sheriffs and CHP. There is also private security patrolling in the Palisades. In addition, the National Guard is on the way to Los Angeles. They will be able to relieve LAPD at many of the traffic control locations, which will free up our police officers to go into the community and do even more crime suppression work. Hopefully you all heard our new district attorney, Nathan Hochman, at this morning's press conference say in no uncertain terms that we are not going to put up with that kind of criminal behavior here on the West Side, and anyone who engages in that kind of behavior will be apprehended and prosecuted to the full extent of the law. But right now, things in the Palisades seem pretty protected from that kind of activity. That said, we are still being very cautious about it. So that seems like a very long-winded update. I would really encourage everyone in this call to please sign up for my newsletter. You can go to cd11.lacity.gov. And the very first window that pops up is the sign up sheet. We are pushing out information about resources and updates Following me on social media at Councilwoman Tracy Park is another great way. I'm putting up updates every couple of hours, showing on the ground images of what we're looking at in real time and where we are in the current suppression effort that will eventually become a recovery effort in the coming days. So everyone, please continue to be patient and be mindful and fully comply with all directions that are being given by law enforcement and fire officials. This is still a very dangerous situation on the ground as well. So I actually am on my way now from the command post back into the Palisades. So I am going to jump off. Please stay engaged with me and my team. I want you to know we are leveraging every single resource we have, and we are going to keep you updated as we have more information. So follow along with me through those official channels that I've recommended. I will look forward to joining you again. Just bear with me as I get through some of this immediate crisis, but I'll look forward, and I hope we can do this again when we can come together as a community and I'll have an opportunity to actually answer some direct questions from you. Thanks, guys.
Councilwoman, stay safe, and we thank you for your leadership. So again, I'm Becky Sobelman Stern, the Chief Impact Officer at Jewish Federation of Greater Los Angeles, JFEDLA. Thank you to all of you who have joined today. And on behalf of everyone online, I want to take a moment to express my deep gratitude to our experts, to our colleagues, Rachel Gross, Diego Cartagena, Eli Weitzer, and Jen Glazer. They work each and every day with our team at Jewish Federations, which is led by Tanaz Golshan, who is our Senior Vice President. It is teamwork, collaboration, that in a moment like this, we need each other and we come together. The past 48 hours has been deeply painful and devastating for so many of us. The fires have ravaged communities, including members of our very own Jewish community, and the loss and disruption are heartbreaking. We saw Orna in our introductions get quite choked up. Who is it that does not know somebody who has lost a home or has been evacuated? However, even as we face these immense challenges, we are also witnessing incredible moments of resiliency, unity, and strength. And so many of you in the chat asked, how can I help? This collective response, I hope is inspiring to each of you and speaks to the heart of who we are as a Jewish people and the values that we cherish. To channel this energy and provide clear pathways for support, JFEDLA has launched the Wild Crisis Relief Effort, a comprehensive initiative to respond to this crisis. Again, many of you in the chat have asked, how do I access services? How do I access information? I'm going to take 2 seconds before I keep going. And for those of you who want to, can scan this QR code. You can also find detailed information at www.jewishla.org/wildfire-crisis relief. This link is available in our webinar and is easy access. You will also find critical information about access to assistance for you or someone you know. Please engage and support others in need. Let me walk you through some of the resources that are actually available, and this does respond to many of the questions I just saw. Many synagogues have opened their doors to provide refuge for those displaced, whether they are members of that congregation or not. We are an open community. We want to serve all. They are serving and offering warm meals, a place to charge your electronics, or simply a safe space to regroup or to have somebody give you a hug or to ask how you are. Hotels. Thanks to the Hotel Association of Los Angeles, we have a list of hotels offering significant discounts for displaced individuals and families. We're also coordinating efforts to deliver warm meals to first responders and those displaced by the fires. And I think it's at this moment that we should all take a moment, whether publicly, privately, in your prayers, to thank our firefighters who are just doing a yeoman's job. Emotional and legal support. We understand the immense trauma this moment brings. To address this, we've aggregated mental health resources to help individuals and families navigate the emotional toll. Additionally, we've compiled a list of legal services in addition to Bates Addicts legal services with the challenges that may arise in the aftermath, the many months of aftermath of this disaster. And finally, volunteer and relief fund opportunities. As we continue to assess the needs of our community, we're also organizing volunteer opportunities to help direct efforts where they're needed most. Please check back on the research page regularly. We will be updating it. And I understand from our team, we're updating it 3 times a day. Please check back because updates will be posted there. For those, and we will need this, for those looking to contribute financially, we have established the Wildfire Crisis Relief Fund. Every dollar donated goes directly to those in need, making an immediate impact. In closing, I want to assure you that JFEDLA is here for you and our entire community. As you can see, we are working with our sister federation. We're working with our social service partners. We are coming together, and we can together navigate this crisis with strength, compassion, and action. So now, Orna, I turn this webinar back over to you.
Becky, thank you so much. You are our Chief Impact Officer, and the impact of your work and the dedication and expertise with which you do your work, the work, really uplifts and safeguards us all. Thank you very, very much. And thank you to Councilwoman Park for the very helpful, although far too sobering, update. I thank everybody on this webinar for joining today's briefing. We are a large, diverse city, but we are a family, we are a community, and we are in this together. As this tragedy evolves, we will draw strength and wisdom from one another, and we will work together to help, to comfort, and to rebuild our city strategically and compassionately. With prayers for dying winds, good news, the ongoing strength of our firefighters, and the resilience of our city, I wish you ease in your lives. And I do feel very emotional. Stay strong, stay safe, stay hopeful, and thank you for your support. Together, we will succeed.